Another inmendham video. Yeah, change of pace, making it some inmendham videos. Oh, comments. It just seems like it's worth it. What the hell? Yeah, I haven't bothered with comments because they suck. They're not even the critiques aren't even worthy of mention. It's just nothing even close to interesting. No contribution of any kind. Much. I mean, except for the one guy who actually posts the indexes. You know, he puts time codes and quotes from videos, which is incredibly helpful. And, thank you for that. I really should do it to my own videos because I do tend to watch them, but I don't get to watch them on YouTube anymore because, it doesn't play for a couple of days, so I don't bother. But anyway, that's a whole nother issue. So, the Gavolt guy. Joke. So it's always a joke. Alright, what do I think about jokes? Live without them. They really don't do much for me. Yes, I mean, you can't just sit here and go, oh shit, I'm on a bug planet. Oh shit, I'm on a bug planet. Oh shit, I'm on a bug... You can't do that, because you just can't. You can't survive that way, recognizing just how bad it is. Saying, what's the worst person's... who's having the worst next 10 minutes? And just think about how bad the 10 minutes is. Some horrible thing happening. They just shit a giant worm or something that's coming out of their ass and is, trying to bite them in the neck. Something horrible. Oh, you can't do that. So, yes, you need a joke to see past it all. I guess I sort of just joked, in a sense, just to lighten it up a little, try to stay afloat. Don't swim in the truth because that stuff will kill you. So, you have to stay above it to even have the opportunity to comment on it. Because if you don't, you're just one of the crazy people licking the wallpaper. So, in that sense, yes. But I don't know if that's, it just doesn't... I don't think it does videos any good. I mean, the point of the video is try to get people to move them. And to have comic reliefers lightening it up, that's probably not helping. I mean, I guess he thinks he has an icon of a cat, who's like covered in oil or something, some tragedy of some kind, or stuck in a flood and just soaking wet. And I guess he thinks it's a funny picture. It really, it's funny in the sense that, okay, yes, it's horribly, like, what a loser, it's a fail kind of image of a cat. And in that sense, it's funny, but it's not really funny. Yeah. Well, anyway, so here's the joke. I own bear eggs and sell them to retards. They're actually coconuts, but I'm a shrewd businessman. So, it's a pretty good joke. But, I just don't know if it's useful in my mission. I don't know. I tend not to think so, I guess is what I'm saying. But I tend to think. Alright, man, jeez. Well, I need this video. Mollyhue, yeah, well, who cares about the stupid Mollyhue shit? People. Anyway, so the one I wanted to get to, John Reynolds. Unsubscribed! Love when people do that. Just get your blood going. Ooh. The guy wants to play. Okay. It's very disappointing that you decide to exploit somebody else's tragedy to win an argument. I'm not exploiting his tragedy. The asshole is selling the Wonderomic, right? This thing, life. And he's doing it with no fucking fingers on his hands, right? It's a blender. He's selling the blender. He has no fucking fingers left, right? And he's selling it as, it's the safest blender in the universe. This kind of thing. He's a fucking used car salesman times, like, combined with, like, if you took Mengele and you forced it, well, Mengele forced himself to have sex with a used car salesman, this is the kind of asshole you'd end up creating. Some asshole who can't learn a lesson, can't figure out what pain and suffering is, unless it's his, No, it's a perfectly valid point to raise to somebody who's selling shit. He's selling it. Alright, if he was just minding his own business, who cares? He doesn't have fingers. Okay, it's kind of cruel to point out he has no fingers. But if he has no fingers for a fucking reason, which he's philosophically going to basically create more fingerless assholes, yeah, then it's worthy of correction. Fuck you. It's not a tragedy. It's a fucking reckless imposition. This isn't something like happened by accident. This happened by intent, and his whole rhetoric is built out of do it over again. The sperm made my kids. You know, that kind of bullshit. He doesn't even take responsibility for having them, let alone raising them. Fuck you. He says it's cheap. No, no, no. That's as genuine and as real as it gets on this fucking planet, fucker. That's why we have the mess. That's why it's the mess we're in. It's exactly because of assholes like that. Reckless fucktards who can't see it when it's on the fucking wall in big, bold print. I mean, the writing is on the wall in bold print and they still pretend they can't read. Fuck you. Okay. Further. It's chicken shit to take somebody else's loss and turn it into fodder for your frivolous, goony audience. Oh, you mean the goony audience that you're part of? You mean the frivolous audience that you were part of? That you're part of the definition of its frivolousness? Yes, I'd say it's a little less frivolous now, thank you. Oh, except you didn't really unsubscribe, right? Or, oh no, you're the mystery. We don't know for sure, right? Oh yes, we do know. John Reynolds, let's see. Did he unsubscribe? No, he didn't unsubscribe. Let's see if he unsubscribed now. It's a little bit later than when I loaded this page. Let's see. It'd be fun to watch. No, I'm still there. With Hothliday, douchebag. Piro, douchebag. Well, the Morbid Atheist is the only person you're subscribed to that has half a brain. I mean, well, a full brain, actually. Everybody else, Tommy from the Bronx, Christopher Anderson, Mr. Happ, all these people are frivolous douchebags. So, yeah, good riddance is what I say. So, as an appropriate response to somebody who is unsubscribed, I think I'll block you. I'll help you out. Apparently you couldn't handle the unsubscribe part. Idiot. Too challenging. So anyway, the rest of his comment. I know 90% of the people who watch your show. Yeah, it's a show. Right, sure it is. It's really a big show. Do so because they get their rocks off on verbal abuse and negativity. All of YouTube gets its rocks off on crap. So that's true. It's true. Way too many people in the audience just are looking to be crap-attained. Okay? And that's what all of these assholes who have an audience, the only reason why they have an audience is because they do crappy things or say crappy things. It's just a useless medium. And unlike you jackasses, yeah, you won't see me subscribe to anything. Okay? Except for a few people that have some, trying. People trying. And that's it. I'm not subscribed to anything big and wonderful. I'm not listening to any Joe Rogan shows or any of this other crap. The only people I listen to are the people I might make a response video to. And that's it. I'm not here to be crap-attained by this crap that's on this medium. And the only real value I've gotten out of it is the fact that, yes, it has all these physics lectures, which is really good. And you get to see some TV shows, that are science shows. I've been watching some of those, some of the documentaries and such, which aren't really science shows. They're just science propaganda. But anyway, they're bad documentary. Which I guess I should just start making as documentaries and quit pretending there's anybody in this medium worthy of a conversation. Because there really isn't. They're all fucking sick, stupid time wasters. Alright. Who really haven't thought about anything deeply. Anyway. because they get their rocks over their negativity. It's like reality TV for them. Yes, and you were one of the audience of crapheads. And their arguments with you are probably superficial anyway. Well, their counter arguments are superficial, and certainly your argument that I shouldn't point out that the guy selling the blender doesn't have any fingers, the safe blender, you know, the safe ironic. No, ain't so safe. Just because you can take these kinds of cheap shots, well, again, in my opinion, they're really valid shots to take to people who are causing the problem. The asshole, glib, reckless fucks are causing all the problems in the world. The people who don't think about anything, they come up with wacky ideas. Let's just tax the land because the rich have land. Why don't you just tax gold because the rich have a lot of gold? That'll solve the problem. They won't sell it. No, they're not smart enough to figure out that, hey, if I sell this gold, I won't get taxed. No, they're not smart enough to figure that out. Oof. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, cheap shots to win over less sophisticated members of your fan base doesn't mean you should. Well, again, I wasn't looking to win anybody over. I was looking to point out to people who think this glib, reckless philosophy works. I was just making sure they understand. Look at the people who think it works. Look at their lives. Would you want to live their lives? Would you want to be their prodigy? It makes you look like a jackass when you resort to low tactics like that instead of sticking with the philosophical ideas of letting those speak for themselves. Well, if the ideas are speaking for themselves, why do I need to speak for them? So I guess that would be kind of silly. And apparently, as been pointing out, you really have to rub it in people's faces or they don't get it. The whole point is this idiot who doesn't have any fingers left still can't figure out, not only should he not use the blender, he shouldn't be selling it to anybody. That's a really bad thing to do. He can't figure that the fuck out, you retard. And nobody should point that out? No, I think somebody should point that out. I used to find some of your commentary interesting. Well, guess what? I didn't care. Yeah, that's right. I found it interesting, and that's all that matters. My standards are higher than yours, no doubt. And I put my stamp of approval on my content, so that's all it needs. Once it's got my stamp on it, it doesn't need any other stamps. Mine's the good one. And agreed with you on many topics. Well, again, who cares? But that's over. Good. Oh, yeah, it would be a tragedy if you had your own philosophy that actually meant something to you. Instead, it's much better that you go find somebody else to be a sycophant to and see, you know, live their philosophy for them. I mean, it's just a stupid piece of rhetoric. Oh, let's blame the philosophy on the messenger. Yes. If the messenger's a fool, the philosophy's a fool. No. And there are anti-natalists that I like. Well, I didn't see you subscribe to any but two. I didn't see you subscribe to Old Fan, one of the best. So you suck. And who are well-spoken and make valid appeals, like Benatar. Well, you're not subscribed to him because his appeals are made in, like, the middle of nowhere to no one. Who also doesn't feel compelled to kill innocent, healthy cats. So here we're back to this shit again. In his neighborhood. But that's not you. Well, you don't know what Benatar supports in terms of what he would vote for. So again, the fact that Benatar's a pussy, okay, and you know, it's better never to have been, except when it's cats. Okay, yes, it's better that you force them to be. Yeah. And bears. And elephants. And, well, you know, if you can't stop them, join them. You know, I mean, his solution is nothing because he's afraid to have a solution because it's a very difficult problem. I mean, quite obviously, you have to do a very negative thing to have a very positive result. It's like giving people vaccinations. Now, the few people who are going to have some kind of wacky allergic reaction and die or suffocate or do something horrible, that will be awful. But I mean, what you're doing is trying to prevent a much larger toll in suffering and torment and horror. And yeah, it's ugly being doing good is an unpleasant job, and you want to just pretend, no, it can all be good, it can all be happily ever after, because as long as we don't watch it die, it doesn't die. That's all you're doing. You don't represent any good stand of any philosophy. Well, just before you said I did, but then okay, now you're saying the whole philosophy is wrong because you don't like my stand on preventing cat harm. Okay. You know, you call, and because you low life, you a low life, you're a low life, you're a stupid life, a wasted life. Anyway, I encourage anybody that feels the same. So now you're doing encouraging things. So, you know, that does put you in a position where now you can be ridiculed, of course. I encourage anybody that feels the same way to unsubscribe to you. Yes, I encourage anybody who doesn't agree with me, yes, please unsubscribe. What's the point? And if you do agree with me, make videos, do something. At least put a banner on your page that has something to do with the subject. This asshole didn't do anything ever. So the whole time he believed what I was saying, the whole time he thought I was insightful, he couldn't even make an icon. He couldn't do a damn thing to say, yeah, I'm with him. You know, yeah, let's stop these life lovers, these blender sellers. Let's stop the blender sellers. You could at least put that in a banner or something. Nothing. He did absolutely nothing. And yet he says he was on our side. Yeah, I don't think so. And you clearly haven't thought through the implications of your own bullshit. In what respect? I guess we're going to hear that now. I don't think so. If a death is tragic, well, no, a death is only tragic because of the complications of death. I died, let's say, tomorrow. Well, there's 3 cats outside that ain't going to get fed in the morning. And then they might not get fed at night. And they might not get ever fed by a human being ever again. And they might come back to this door day after day after day and not get fed. And the blind one is certainly fucked. Okay, the blind one is fucked. He's just going to be in a terrible position. So my death will cause that tragedy. And then there's some people I know and are associated with who are sort of dependent on me for certain things. You know, I help out in different ways. And they're fucked in the sense that whatever my contribution is to making their life easier, no, that ain't going to happen anymore. So death is complicated in the sense that it can have implications. And then there's the whole way you die. So it's not a simple question, like all death is tragic. That would be stupid to say. So if we could say that there was 10 people, average human beings, and you were going to kill 5 of them, right? There's 5 that you could probably predict weren't going to do too well over the next 10 years anyway. That their life wasn't going anywhere. Right? Now you know it. There's people who are probably not going to benefit from being alive anymore. If they died tomorrow, it would probably be the best thing they could possibly do, because they're just going to get that cancer diagnosis, they're going to get some other bullshit, and it ain't going to, they're going to get caught by the cops, you know, because somebody's going to call the cops on them, and you know, their life is going to be ruined. And so they'd be better off if they drop dead. And it's just going to be a truth. Now you're going to pretend it's not a truth? Well, of course it's a truth. Alright, well anyway. If a death is tragic, death just represents the process. Death is just this thing where you have to go through this process of dying. So in that sense, it's a generic bad thing that you bring up in conversation. When you want to represent something as bad, you talk about death, because death usually, well, maybe for most people, but I guess maybe it's not true, so maybe I should never use death as an example of a bad thing. But for most people, death usually is associated with pain, suffering, maybe years of it, a great deal of horror. But maybe that's not true for you glibbers. So maybe I have to use more explicit examples of tragedy. And somehow more tragic than to continue to exist. So that's your premise. That's not my premise. So I don't say if a death is tragic and somehow more tragic than to continue to exist. Well, that's clearly a conditional. Continuing to exist with a cancer diagnosis versus not continuing to exist where you didn't even know what hit you, quite obviously it'd be hard for me to see the tragedy. somebody missing the opportunity to die badly, I couldn't really see as a tragedy. Alright, anyway. Continue to exist, then it can only be tragic by virtue of the possibility that the person could have continued living. So again, your presumption, when I would argue that no, the real point is will their death be better if they do it later? If it's not going to be a better death later, then it's probably better to get it over with sooner. And not because that person was born at all. And not because that person was born at all. So again, you're ignoring the fundamental risk component of life, which means that any life is a risk. And the point is, will you realize the negative? And what we're trying to do is to roll the dice. Okay, so we know the dice have skull and crossbones on it. And the trick is we're trying to roll the dice and avoid the skull and crossbone part. The worst case scenario, let's call that. And that's what we try to do, is we try to set up the dice where, okay, it won't be the worst case scenario. And that's the best we can do, is try to fight for that least, worst case. And my argument is with excess animals that are produced by you pet owners, you defenders of the use of, animals as therapy or slaves to your emotional needs, that process creates these excess animals that nobody wants to take care of. They don't want to finance those orphans. They don't want to pay for those orphans. They don't even want to pay for their license for their pets, let alone have to pay for the problems, social problems created by their pet ownership. And this liability exists, and you're saying the right answer to the liability, okay, that the animal will suffer and die badly, the way to avoid the skull and crossbones is to throw the animal in some ambiguous, clearly marginal life. Clearly not a safe life. Clearly not a life unlikely to have skull and crossbones come up. And you're saying that that's somehow the rational choice versus, well, let's just put it on as peaceful and graceful an exit as possible. And that's at least not the worst case scenario. It's not an ideal case, but it's a long way from the worst case scenario of torture. And somehow I'm a sadistic kook for saying, yes, better a quick, graceful death than putting them on tight ropes over blenders. You sadistic cunt. So anyway, I made the video. Funny thing is, this comment is on the what the fuck video, so I hadn't even made the cat video yet. So it's pretty funny. Wait till you hear that. Oh, you won't see it because you unsubscribed. Not really. Anyway. So anyway. Otherwise, death could never be a loss. It would be a blessing. Well, that's the truth. That's what better never to have been means, idiot. Is that you evade all the liabilities, all the negatives, and you sacrifice absolutely nothing. So if you can never be, that's the ideal. And the second best thing to be is being, but gracefully leaving as quickly as possible. That's the second best choice, retard. And the fact that you don't understand that clearly indicates, yes, you haven't learned anything from my videos, so don't watch them because you're not capable of learning the simple mathematics here. You mentioned Benatar in a positive way, yet you completely deny the title of his book. You don't believe it. You're not convinced. Better to leave quickly and gracefully. If he made the book that title, okay, better to leave quickly and gracefully, which is the same thing as never been, right? It's just it's the next best thing, a quick and graceful exit. And you're saying, no, Benatar doesn't believe that. Well, then you're saying Benatar doesn't have any functional logical skills either. So go ahead and say that out loud. And then the Benatarites can harass you like you're harassing me. How about that? Alright, if you're going to go around calling people pro-lifers, well, that's what you are. if they also support abortion rights, and right to die laws, well, as I pointed out, the very fact that idiots like you will sit there and support abortion rights and the right to die, and yet you'll support some obligation, that I should have a legal obligation to support cutting cats' nuts off and throwing him in the wild to starve to death. I have a legal obligation to support that. Yes, I'd say that's totally in conflict. That you're the one with the logical problem. I'm logically consistent. You're illogic. You're not logically consistent. Fuckhead. Maybe you have a problem you need to look into. Well, obviously, you're the one who can't add 2 plus 2 plus 2 and come up with 6. Dumbass. You're adding 2 plus 2 plus rhinoceros. Can't do that, idiot. Alright, deleted, gone. Good. Good riddance, goodbye. Alright, Truth Quest, who has always been an asswipe, has the picture of Tesla as his icon. So he calls himself the Truth Quest, as if Tesla was on a truth quest, when Tesla was nothing but a clothes horse. Okay, it's just an elitist douchebag who spent the 3/4 of his life doing absolutely nothing but walking around being Mr. Tesla. And that's all he did. Don't you smoke, asshole. So he's referencing the point where I talk about Piro. Yes, the point is that I started smoking when I was a dumb 11-year-old. Piro started smoking when he was a stupid, fucktarded 39-year-old. I was making that point, asshole. It's one thing to make dumb mistakes when you're a dumb kid, but once you pass like that whole 18 thing, and then once you pass the the 30 thing, and you're almost hitting the 40 thing, you're not supposed to make mistakes that 11-year-olds make. That was the point of bringing it up, dumbass. Yes, I do smoke, because I made a really dumb decision when I was 11 fucking years old. Also, right after that, a second ago, you talked about how you don't bring up his daughter, then a second later you do just that. No, I said I don't bring up his daughter explicitly. Okay? I bring her up as a reference to previous failure. The failure is what I call it, or something like that. So I don't try to dig the knife in by using her name, which I could do. Because in some respects, I think it's almost like her name resonates in my head, I think, louder than it does in Piro's. It haunts me. Because this circumstance has happened right in front of my face. I remember his daughter. She was in the background in a couple of videos. And it bothers me that he's so fucking glib. But I don't do that. I could do that, but I don't do that. Then a second later, you do just that, and you once again, for the millionth time, it's not the millionth time, you idiot, do it in a laughing matter sort of way. Well, laughing in what sense? Laughing in the sense of the satire is so gross, the preposterous upside downness of it, but no other way. It's a representation of every fucking horror that happens on this planet. They're all happen not by accident and not by necessity. They happen because assholes like you and assholes like Piro keep making excuses for the mangula that is the natural system. The natural system is mangula, and you keep making excuses for it. And that makes you the fucking perpetrator. Alright? It's the person who owns the pit bull, okay, who is responsible for the damage the dog does. You're the ones making it happen. You're the ones putting the beastie on the leash and taking it to the kindergarten. You're the ones creating it. Alright? I'm making that clear. I'm pointing at you, fuckhead. It's on you. You're not going to come back to this world as Tesla. You're going to come back as one of Piro's victims. You're going to die, and then you're going to wake up again as another douchebag asshole stuck in a shitty position because of assholes. I hope you're the victim of the next, the praying mantis or something. Get eaten alive. Oh, but that won't do you any good because you won't have a brain. You won't be able to say, oh, I get it now. So, yeah, just keep the grinder turning, asshole. Keep cranking the grinder. And then tell me you're disappointed in me? Fuck you. Yeah. Jeez. Call me the psychopath. While you turn that crank. Alright, fuck you, Gary. Yeah, well, double fuck you. Or triple times infinity. I can't believe I've spent 10 years watching your fucking ass. Who cares? You've been a useless troll, and that's all you've ever been. And, this guy doesn't produce any videos, just has the Tesla icon, and music videos. And he doesn't even show. He hides his subscriber list and his subscriptions. So a guy called The Truth Quest 123 has to hide. Oh, I guess you're not about the truth, are you? Fucking cunt. Yeah, here's his douchebag nothing channel. Music and oldies. So he spent 10 years watching my videos, kept a stupid Tesla icon. Tesla, a representation of a total useless scientist, squandered millions of dollars doing completely fruitless research. And then in the end tried to sell the world a death ray. Of all fucking things to go around trying to make a living making. He wanted to make the ultimate death weapon. And that's your icon. So anyway. So yes, no access to any other content here. Who is he? Does he say anything? Does he do anything? Nothing. So he's watched my videos for 10 years and he can't even say, instant runoff voting is good. He can't do one single fucking thing. And I should be disappointed that he's leaving town. He's leaving the team when he's done nothing. Yeah. Goodbye. God, what an asshole. Jeez. Colossal asshole. Alright. Back to reading. Have I pointed out that I really hate this planet? I really do. It's very sucky. It's like the Mr. Smith, it's such a great little piece of moviedom, the Mr. Smith scene, talking about humans, and it's the stink. I just can't stand the stink of you. I'm sentient. I'm forced to be one of you creepy bugs. Ugh, it's so humiliating. Ugh. Okay. Fuck you, Gary. I can't believe I spent 10 years watching your fucking ass. And the only thing I did was bury me deeper in my depression. Well, I didn't know I was supposed to be curing your depression. I would have given you advice. Well, here, to anybody depressed, this is the It Won't Make You Less Depressed channel. Okay? So, I'm just letting you know. Maybe I'll put a banner up. This channel will not make you less depressed. No, that's not what I'm selling. No. And I'm not selling blenders either. Shit. Piro has actual good advice for depression. Oh, what is that? Glibosity. Go look at a cloud. Oh, yeah, right. Get drunk. Yeah, he's got great advice. Oh, what is it? Oh, yeah, that's right. I never even heard his depression advice video. Hilarious. and life in general. Oh, like what? What's his advice? I didn't. The land tax? What was his life advice? Be reckless and get lucky? Yeah, besides that, what advice does he have? The only advice you have is that people should kill themselves. Well, I really don't say that. I'm just saying certainly there's people who, yes, the writing on the wall is you're never getting out. You're in the glue trap and you are fucked. And, I can't fix that for them. They've got the diagnosis and they're fucked, But I don't advocate that. I even say, even if you're always just, choking down the vomit, and you just can't stand it here, just, it's a nauseating, sickening smell, I'm still going to ask them to try. Because, every life we prevent is a huge victory. So if you can prevent one dumbass from not looking at the world and recognizing they're not going to do their kid any favor, the odds are against it. Your kid's going to have it bad, probably really bad. He's not going to be the rich and famous. And even if he was, right, what do? They just keep stepping in their own fucking oral mistakes, getting themselves thrown in jail for opening their stupid dumbass mouths about the rackets they've been running. I mean, they're too stupid to even keep their mouths shut. You really want your kid to be some rich and famous douchebag who's, like Tiger Woods, run down the street chasing his fucking wife in the car with a golf club or something? Or vice versa. You really want to be that? You want to be humiliated, in public? You want that for your kid? There's no winning here. So yeah, if you can stand it, stay here and try to plug a vagina wherever you can. Try. Because it's all a huge victory. You prevent a whole lifetime of this fucking pain. Okay. Piero has actually good advice. Oh, no, I already did that part. Alright. The only advice you have is people should kill themselves. Okay, so it's just such a stupid lie. So after 10 years, and 10 years of watching people just constantly lie about what I'm talking about or what I'm saying, and then you just do that as your last parting piece of crap. You just fart out that big giant piece of crap. I mean, just amazing. At the first sign of something not going according to their plan. So again, where have I done that? I've encouraged people to live long and fight the Borg. Live long and can't do it with this hand. Live long and fight the Borg. That's what I do. Alright. Listening to you, I got to a point where I would think about handing myself simply not for being I don't know what that means, about handing myself simply for not being able to afford rent. Listening to you, I got to the point where I would think about handing myself simply for not being able to afford the rent. You dumb cunt. Handing myself. Okay, I'm probably for that. Handing myself. I never heard it called that before, but sure, I'm all for that. Especially when you can't afford the rent, a good wank probably is the appropriate response. You dumb cunt. Listening to you got me to a point where, I mean, I know I really am dyslexic. Sometimes I can't read worth shit, but something's wrong with this sentence. Listening to you, I got to the point where I would think about handing myself simply for not being able to afford the rent. Yeah, okay. That's what it says. Alright, if the more than several demons inside you would let you... Oh, so now I'm supposed to believe in demons. Oh, and by demons you mean conceptual truths, definitions of reality. Yeah, that's what you mean. Okay, so by demons you mean definitions of reality. And the definition of reality is that this is a meat grinder, appropriately metaphored as a meat grinder, just a bunch of biological organisms being abused as a DNA molecule is modified in ways that are completely irrelevant to any meaningful purpose. So it's a gladiator war. So that's a demon thought. So let's just understand what he means. That's the demon. The demon thought is gladiator war, demon thought. You should go read the fucking comment I left on his video talking about you. Why would I want to do that? I mean, I will do that, but why would I want to? Okay. Turn your life around instead of dragging more people like me down into your hell. Okay, so you're a Piro supporter now. So you support people, not ideas. And you think there's something Piro has said in the last 10 years that actually qualifies as an intelligent description of reality. That he has said something that actually encompasses something you think is true about this planet in this space. Because I have concluded he hasn't gotten a single thing right. Anyway. You have nothing to offer. Well, go ahead. Go eat your Piro cookies. And I'm sure they're going to make you sick. Because you are ruled by evil spirits. Well, there you go. I mean, he's two references. Demons and spirits now. So he's watched me for 10 years. And he just hasn't figured out that demon talk and spirit talk can't possibly mean a thing to me. That's just silly. Are you feeding on... who are feeding on you and your negativity? So I'm feeding the demons. The demon thoughts of get real. This isn't fucking Barney the Dinosaur show. This isn't some fake little silly world where everything's made out of plastic and rubber and there's no pointy scissors to go stabbing little kids in the eye, because that's what reality is. Reality has scissors and they stab kids in the eye, fuckhead. And you're saying, yeah, let's just have more of that. And you do nothing but drag others who are depressed deeper into depression. Well, there's plenty of people who've testified to exactly the opposite. So they've said they were horribly depressed and felt terribly isolated and terribly desperate. And at least they feel a little bit better knowing that there's some fight to have and that there's somebody out there who gets it. And it makes them feel better, less psychotic, because they recognize that, oh yeah, I'm not insane because I don't like a world where everything's just using, abusing, and eating each other. I thought there was something wrong with that, and I'm just glad somebody else gets it. So you can make your little claim that it hasn't done you any good, but it's done others good. And regardless of your conditions, you or them, I'm doing it because I know the future needs somebody to do it. They're asking, they're right now saying, why didn't, just like I'm saying, why didn't anybody tell my dumbass mother, give her a couple of clues about reality, my parents, before they made this mess? Why didn't somebody talk to them for fucking 5 minutes and explain a few facts of goddamn fucking life? So they wouldn't have had to watch their daughter die of cancer over a 5-year period. With a 3-year-old daughter, granddaughter. Wouldn't have to watch any of that shit then. None of that horror would have had to happen. If somebody would have said something. And the future shouldn't have the same complaint. They shouldn't be asking, why didn't anybody say anything? You fucking cunts. You just let this stupid moronic Borg just keep Borging along. You just said, hey, look, there's a blob and it's killing things and torturing them. Oh well. And you just let it walk into the future. Didn't do a damn thing about it. Well, I'm doing something. I'm going to make sure at least that's not going to be the complaint. Why did you do nothing? Well, I'm going to do something. You have nothing to offer. Let's see. Okay, that's the spirit part. You give them no advice as how to get better. Again, so you're getting better by finding it all acceptable. It's Freddy's nightmare. Learn to love it. We do suffering and torture here. We're all sadists. So just, put on your sadist hat and join the club, and then everything's just fine. You won't be depressed anymore as soon as you become a sadist. Fuck you. I'm not playing that. Besides either offering themselves or becoming an angry, raving, whatever this is, grandpa. Obviously, I'm not a grandpa. Like you. Period. Oh, brilliant. Almost 10 years I've been wasting watching you. Well, yeah, and you didn't learn a fucking thing. So you belong, yes, if we have categories, and the category is Piro-like, okay, now you fit into that category, and that category is full of people who can't learn a fucking thing. 10 fucking years of watching videos, and you didn't learn fact fucking one. So yes, you're as dumb as uneducable. You're uneducable. So right next to the category Piro, connected with a straight, big, bold line, is uneducable idiot. So bravo, fuckhead. At least you're fitting the geometry of stupidity. You're obeying the rules of the stupid geometry. Oh, another one by the same asshole, still here. Oh, isn't that nice? So this is another comment on the what the fuck video. Okay. Piro equals rational person. Well, gee, that's like Tesla science. So that at least fits. So it's right next to Tesla. So get this. Okay. It is kind of ironic. So here's Tesla, and here's Piro equals rational person. That's about as involved and complex as Tesla's science, right there. That's about as good as he could do. And these people iconize him. Tesla couldn't put together a single equation in his life. He couldn't. He didn't make a single contribution besides twiddling with motors, okay, generators that have already been invented, right? They keep saying Tesla invented the generator. No, he improved the generator. He didn't invent it. Okay, and it's improvement that would have inevitably been found. It wasn't like it was, well, only Tesla could have figured that out, that, when you have a frequency and a phase going through the motor, that if you have that phase organized in specific ways, you can create greater efficiency in the turning of magnets. I mean, that was just so fucking obvious in a way. Go ahead, yes. He's the truther. Okay. U equals angry old hermit, psychopath, food stamp recipient in New Jersey. Well, anyway, I don't get food stamps, but whatever. He's always been picking into my personal life. You have no solutions to anything. Well, they are been argued, and obviously not too many people are interested in solutions, but I clearly have better solutions than your new hero. Go ahead and chew on your land tax cookie and see if you can eat that one. See if you're really dumb. That'll be your dumb test, is to think about how poor people are going to win when we start taxing the land. Yeah, go ahead and explain how, the poor people are going to win. Besides telling people to kill themselves. Okay, so he repeats the same lie again in a second comment, where I have never told people to kill themselves. I've sort of pleaded with them to hang in there as long as you can and, fight the Borg. At least jump. If you're going to kill yourself, jump out a window and where the Borg is coming right across the right below you or something, and land on the Borg. Something like that. But I can't, you got to be very careful about suggesting people have productive deaths, because then you're going to get blamed for some kind of suicide bomber or something. But yes, I don't encourage people to kill themselves. I encourage them to fight as long as they can, because that's all we got, is to save the future. If we don't stop the future from happening, we're going to have to live in it. Oh, fuck. Anyway, sorry, you lose. What do I lose? The charm of your acquaintance? Oh, well, there hasn't been any charm in it. It's been nothing but a kind of a sick, annoying noise. Sickening, annoying noise. So, goodbye, fuckface. Fuckhead. Fucker. Anyway. Oh, it's just so... So, now we just get the regular stupid comments. So, apparently somebody said it'd be good for me to debate something called Athen Wins. And it's some fucking gamer retard. And does somebody think any of these audiences would really garner any purpose? Like, let's say I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying, it's not that easy to organize something. I'm not going to do a call into the Molinox show, because first I'd have to watch his stupid show to know when to call in or even how to. I don't even want to do that. I don't even want to make that much of an investment in that asshole. But let's say I did. Do you think his audience there's anybody in his audience that is going to be terribly receptive to reason? I probably don't think so. I think it'd be just like the Amazing Atheist's audience. They've referenced me on the Drunken Peasants a few times. Has it done anything? Has one of those people come looking at my videos? I don't think so. So what value is it? Probably none. The point is, get on TV someday or something like that. Make a documentary. That's what I really got to do. But even that's a tough sell from YouTube. I mean, Old Fan made a great movie, and very hard to sell, very hard to get it seen. Anyway, I would find it really interesting watching you debate Athen Wins. Athen, or whatever his name is. Oh, fine, you would find it interesting. Great. He seems like a stupid little twat, so I don't know why it would be a great debate. I don't think he's going to be very challenging. I'm going to ask him to explain what exactly about life on Earth doesn't look like bugs. Just fucking bugs. Bugs fucking bugs. Fucking. And eating. Fucking and eat. What on planet Earth looks like it's doing something more interesting? Besides conniving to fill a belly or fill a vagina. What exactly are we doing that has something to do with something else? Something not bug-like. And his answer will be, I don't know. Yeah, that'd be fun. Thanks, Gary, for another excellent video from Australia. Really enjoy your views. Oh, good. Peterson's such an idiot. Pooh, snowflake. Okay, who see this? It's just very helpful. I'm very interested in real devotion to this cause. Ooh, so that's another guy. So he's do not impose guy. Yes, and if you are interested in real devotion, don't talk about it, because the FBI is, reading these comments. Yeah, don't hang around me. Okay, yeah, it's not a good idea. Anyway, hi Gary. No, we're not doing that. The bad of pain is wet like water. Okay, so that's the Fireball Fitness guy. Yeah, he's very good. He does all these, clips with the time codes and quotes. Capable of being harmed. ... I like that stuff. The mechanism of the function of our brain is generating. Brain space puts value into things. Those aren't really great quotes, but anyway, some of them are really good. Anyway, so I like that. So thank you. Thank you for raising the volume. Yeah, it was only, I mean, I used to raise it 2.5, and now I raised it a full 3. But geez, it shouldn't really make that much difference. There's people who can't control their technology enough to raise the volume on your own computer. But whatever, I understand. Everything has to be loud and obnoxious. So at least I got the loud up, right? Obnoxious is kind of easy, but anyway. Alright, get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow's going to be new assholes to pound. Yeah, well, that's kind of a vulgar way to put it. I'm really not a backdoor kind of guy, but whatever. Cool video of the river and great content. Again, nice. Infinite space, multi-dimensional, don't have anything to do with people, or 99% of the crack up in an average human brain, give them more time. Oh, that's the quote thing again. Thanks for the kitties. Whatever. Pale blue dot. Oh, this ought to be stupid. So many great expressions. Oh, it's actually not bad. Brilliant metaphors and so much intelligence, all wasted on a sad bunch of completely irrelevant, obscure imbeciles on YouTube. A decade argued away in vain, and for what? So again, it's these people backseat driving. The point is that it's a huge archive, and it's even been archived in other places, so it's always available whenever the audience shows up. And who knows, maybe I'll get eaten by a bear. Okay, it's a real possibility now. I'll be in the newspaper, and everybody will say, well, look at all these videos, you know, there's tragedy, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so it might work out. Who knows what has been achieved? Well, again, there's lots of people, okay? I mean, Van Gogh didn't achieve any success in his lifetime. It wasn't until after he was dead he was appreciated. And for a lot of authors, you think Nietzsche knew that he was going to be Nietzsche and everybody would be reading his insane poetry? No, he didn't know it. I mean, he died a lunatic. Completely no idea. You know, idiots calling Tesla, you know, brilliant. Tesla didn't know he was going to be remembered this way because, frankly, he sort of died figuring, I've been shadowed. You know, the shadow of Einstein's great gravity had consumed him, and he was very bitter. He was a bitter little shit. You know, and Einstein was very, in a sense, very generous, because when Tesla died, Einstein said very nice things, even though Tesla had been, you know, just talking shit about Einstein for years. Alright, 10K subs and only 1K of them actually watching. Yeah, well, that's YouTube, fucker. You don't know how YouTube works, but yeah, that's how it works. This argument has literally never evolved. Go see for yourself. What do you think it's going to evolve into? It's a bug planet. There's no evolution. The argument's never going to evolve, because it can't. The argument is arguing that we're trapped in a meat grinder. How do I evolve the meat grinder argument? I mean, these critiques are just so utterly useless. Go see for yourself. Pull up videos from 8, 9, 10 years ago and witness the same shit getting rehashed over and over and over. Well, it's actually not exactly the same shit, because some of it I didn't say very eloquently in those early days, and I have improved the rhetoric on some subjects quite a bit, and found language and metaphors and analogies that make it a little more easier to see. You need to get this thing to the next level. Well, I've made the same argument in numerous videos, so apparently you don't even pay attention to the damn videos you're critiquing having to watch and finding it so insufferable. So, fuck you. You have to write a book. So again, this idiotic notion that writing a book will somehow make a difference. I'm sorry. First you have to get a book published, alright, which is difficult, and then promoted. I mean, you have to get it into the talking head argument scope. Benatar hasn't really even achieved that. I mean, the interviews he gets are not exactly with CNN. If you are afraid of popularity or whatever, do it anonymously. Don't publish it. Whatever. What makes sense. So he's saying I should write a book and not publish it. And that somehow is a great plan. And again, the whole point of what I would argue is that making these arguments in video, in my opinion, is almost better than a book, because you end up saying it more than one way, and every day is a little bit different tone of the argument from a little different perspective, and that has a value also. And certainly the emphasis, and you know, sometimes you read a book and you don't get the important stuff because there isn't any emphasis. But it has to be done. Well, whatever. Until this philosophy is written down in a comprehensive form, nobody beyond your 1K active watchers will take notice. Well, again, anybody can write the book, so why are you putting all this on me? I know I have to write all this shit in the sense I have to create the content, but then you're saying I have to organize it and putting into fucking sentences and all that kind of shit. So yeah, everything's my job. Oh, I see. You would owe it to yourself and your subs, and most importantly to this philosophy. So again, what I am obligated to do, alright, I'm clearly understand I have these obligations, And I'm clearly conscientious enough to say, yes, I'm working on it. But this whole idea that you're going to tell me how I can make my life livable and do all this work you want me to do, it's not easy. It's very stressful I have to go under the water. So you get to just float on top of the cesspool because you don't have to make anything or create anything. But I actually have to swim in the shit to be able to make these arguments. I actually have to dive into it, and live in it to see it, to know what it is, to be able to describe it in videos, to make these videos. This isn't free. Like it or not, you have put yourself in the position where there is a job to do and there's no better candidate. Well, there are better candidates, frankly, for writing books because, yeah, I'm not very patient, and it requires somebody very patient. Nobody else is quite as articulate. Well, again, they don't have to be. They just have to be able to organize content. Nobody else has quite the same experience formulating these ideas. Well, again, they've already been formulated and put into video. So, I mean, Old Fan was able to extract a huge amount of value out of my videos for the theme of her video, her movie. So it's not hard to do. She did a brilliant job. Nobody else has the sheer amount of material accumulated to draw from. Well, again, like I said, any of you can do it anytime you want. There's no copyright worries. The best we can currently have is Benatar, and his contribution can't hold a candle to your body of work. Well, yeah, and clearly he's kind of wishy-washy on making it mean anything, in the sense that it's maybe better to be, I guess, if you're a pussy. I don't know. I mean, his philosophy clearly isn't as purely principled as he makes it sound. This philosophy, these ideas, this way of thinking has to transcend this obscure corner of YouTube, or else they'll perish. Well, again, I don't think there's any fear of perishing. It's published, it'll be around. If anybody wants it, it'll be usable. What is happening right now is a tremendous waste of time and your potential. Well, again, you think creating this content is a waste of time and potential. I would argue that it was an essential part of the creation process. This philosophy is being kept hostage to your psychology. Well, frankly, if it wasn't for my psychology, I probably wouldn't have been able to see it as clearly as I saw it, and as soon as I saw it. I wouldn't have spent my whole life not a Borger. To your complacency. So again, this idiotic accusation that I am complacent. Fuck you. I mean, that's just a scuzzy thing to say. I'm not having any fun, fucker. And I don't like the pressure of the job. And I don't like the pressure of my life. My life is unpleasant.